If you're looking for clear, pro-life thinking, cutting-edge apologetics, and a fresh approach to abortion dialogue, you've come to the right place. This is the Equipped for Life podcast.
Okay, we are back with Jacob Nels, Master Sidewalk Counselor. If you did not listen to the last episode, then this one is not going to make any sense.
Yeah.
But we are doing commentary on a Sidewalk Counselor who's taken our course, Rebekah Dyer in California. She also works part-time with Just for All, one of our favorite pro-life organizations. And she had a series of interesting interactions with a couple of police officers. And that's what we talked about and did kind of commentary on last time. This time, we're kind of continuing the saga, if you will. But now, instead of talking to police officers, he's going to talk to a private security officer that Planned Parenthood sicks on them. And it's there's some pretty interesting conversations. So I think we already kind of explained the context in the first one. Let's not redo all of that. Listen to part one. If you're interested in getting Jacob's kind of commentary and ideas on what you should do, how should you handle situations like this if you're sidewalk counseling, especially in this kind of murky situation where it's not a standalone clinic where you definitely have to be on this public sidewalk. You've got this situation where it's a parking lot with a bunch of different businesses and you're a customer of one of them, in this case, Subway, but one of them is a Planned Parenthood and they don't want you in the parking lot. It's kind of this kind of minimally murky legal area. Anyway, so all that had happened on August 7th and August 28th. Now we're going to jump over to September 11th. Which is the first of two times that they have an interaction with this private security officer. So as I said in the last episode, we're dealing with cell phone audio that's taken out in public. The audio is not amazing. And so if you usually listen to the podcast through audio, this might be one you want to watch on YouTube because I've got transcripts for all of this that we're listening to. And that'll just make it a lot easier to follow because there's a lot of like car noises and stuff. And then one other thing that I didn't have to say last time, but I'll say in this case, we're dealing with this private security guy. He uses a lot of very strong language.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not censoring it. We're all adults listening to this. And I want to be very clear what he's saying. So I actually felt like censoring it would be a worse call. And so I'm just if you're listening to this, I'm just going to treat you like an adult. There's nothing censored. He uses very, very strong language. So just know that. I don't think typically people listen to this podcast around their little kids, but if you do, this is probably definitely one to listen with your earbuds on or something like that, right? Let's take a look.
I don't want to answer, but it looks like I might get trouble for you guys being here.
Okay, what kind of trouble?
Great question.
See, there's cameras around, and the owner of this place is just one person. It's private.
Okay.
So when he sees that I came through, and then I looked at you guys, and I didn't give a fuck, which I want to do. So I just want to go sleep.
Okay.
No, for real, I just woke up. There might be some trouble. Like, he might not pay me for the day or call me or tell me to go back. So I'm not sure if you guys want that from me.
Right. Want what from you? I'm sorry to tell us.
That is a good clarification question. I am not understanding what you're saying. Like, is this like a really subtle threat? Like, what do you like? I don't know if you want this. Like, what does that mean? Like, I'm so glad she asked because a lot of people would be like, they would just kind of assume what the person meant. And this is one of those, like, I don't know what that means. Like, what does that mean? Kinds of questions.
Yeah. And it's weird. It's like, I don't want to get in trouble because he saw me walk by on camera. I want to go back to sleeping.
Yeah, they're calling me. They woke me up to make me come deal with this. I just want to go back to sleep. It's like, that's not my problem. I'm sorry.
Wait, but I don't understand. Like, they're not going to be mad when they catch you sleeping?
Well, I'm assuming there's maybe his shift just started or something, or maybe it's like one of those on-call things where he doesn't have to be out there at all times, but he can. Okay. I don't know. I don't want to assume. I don't know. It's odd.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's odd. It gets more odd, but it's definitely odd.
Yeah. He's starting here with the whole, let's be friends. Let's just be cool.
You might be getting me in trouble. Help me out.
Yeah. There's a couple things with like security guards. There's to my knowledge, just two types. There might be actually three, but I know of two. There's one where an establishment will hire an off-duty police officer, and he's got the police department's permission to wear his uniform, have his badge. He has the full authority of the police department behind him and with him. It's almost like he's on call, except his zone is just this area.
Right.
But I have heard of police officers when they've been in this like strip mall or whatever, and there's been like a police officer shooting involved that's close or something. They'll leave and go to that to help, back that up. So they're like, yeah, I'm on call. I'm part of the department. I'm here. But this is my zone right now.
Right.
So they'll hire those. The problem is my understanding is they cost a lot more. So often what happens is they hire private security people and they run a background check on them. And then the security guard works there. Now, one of the tall tale signs to figure out if it's a security guard or a police officer is a police officer carries a real gun. And a security guard will sometimes have mace, usually a flashlight. Sometimes they have a real gun, but maybe not. You're getting into like a different kind of level of security if it's like bank security and stuff where they're not police, but they do carry firearms. Usually private security companies don't carry firearms. That's not a guarantee, but that's a general.
A rule of thumb.
Yeah. So this guy is clearly not a police officer.
Yeah.
And that means he's basically a private citizen and he has been given some authority by the owner on what he can do. But the owner's even restricted because the owner's opened the property up to the public.
Right. He can ask people to leave, but it doesn't mean he's got legal authority to necessarily kick them out. He could call the cops ultimately.
That's right. And I mean, my understanding, different areas or different things, even if somebody's like grabbing something and stealing it, he can't go grab them or he's liable. So most security companies, when I've talked to security guards, they won't put hands on anyone. And it's like, well, what do you do if something goes wrong? I call the police. Right. So they're monitors, really. They're monitoring everything and they will make phone calls to the police. They'll call the owner. They'll speak for the owner in some cases, but they're not the same standard or same kind of thing that a police officer is. Right. They're not going to be getting physically involved usually unless it's just an extreme situation. So
then the question we talked about in the last episode where it's like, hey, if I don't do what you're asking me to do, what will happen is even more important when you're dealing with a security guard who has like nebulous levels of authority over you, right? Because, like what's going to happen if I don't go where you're asking me to go is, I think, a really important question there.
Right. He'd have to call the police.
Right.
There's really nothing,
usually at least,
there's really nothing else he can do. He's kind of just pleading with them to be cool, move on. What I don't think he understands is these are very passionate people who really believe in what they're doing. Right. I don't think he has much passion for what he's doing. So he's like, maybe we could just both, but it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's keep going.
Like, I'm asking you guys to like, if you can send somewhere else because that's not allowed.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just my job to tell you guys.
Sure. Can I ask you a question about that? And just before, I want to let you know I'm recording. I know it's a two-party consent state. So whenever I'm out here, just for records, because I've talked to a lawyer about being out here. And it's my understanding that, because I buy something from Subway, so I am like a customer of one of the stores that's here. And we're only out here for like an hour and a half. And like I eat my sandwich, parts of it, and then I leave.
Eating it bit by bit for an hour.
Well, I don't eat the whole thing, but like I'm in the process of eating it. Like I'm a customer here, and then like at about an hour and a half we head out. But like I don't want to create a problem for
me neither,
for you
honest,
at all.
Like, look, what you're supporting is, I respect it, I don't care, but it's just, I really don't want my boss to call me, that's all.
Sure. So if he calls you, maybe to get you off the hook, because the police have come here twice, and they have also talked to us. They haven't told us that we have to actually leave, because I am purchasing something, so I'm a customer here.
Okay.
So you could tell him, you can tell him that they have called the cops twice, that they've come, and that the police have told us, like, we can stay here, we just probably couldn't hang out all day, and like we're not going to be here all day. We're here for like an hour and a half, and all we're doing is we're just like, I know some people are not aware that there's other options, and so we're just helping people, like, if they want it.
There's a couple of things that I like what I'm seeing here is, one, Rebekah has clearly picked up on kind of his thing is like, would you please, like, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want my boss. Like, I don't want like the hassle.
Right.
So she's like, let me help you out with that.
Yeah.
Here's something you could tell your boss.
Beautiful.
The cops have already come. Like they, and this is kind of where we've landed. So you could be off the hook. Like, I love that. Like, she's so like getting like on his side, basically. Let me help you out. Here's what you ought to tell your boss, because then you shouldn't be in trouble. This is not your fault. If the cops haven't asked us to leave, like you're not going to get us to leave. And then she is so smoothly transitioned into also like, here's all we're doing. We're just offering to help people. Yeah. Like it's not this big deal. Yep. I really, really like how she's handling this guy.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Everything you said, spot on. She gave him an out. She told him, hey, if they say something, you could do this. And then she also, like you said, she said she's educating him on what we're doing here. Yeah. And kind of in that, letting him know what we're doing is legal. Yeah. We're customers here. So the only thing that she could have added, and this is totally playing, couch quarterback here, is, feel free to call your boss right now and tell him. I went and talked to them. They're refusing to move. Apparently they said they've talked to the police. And so now that'll cover your back. Right. And we don't have a problem. You don't have to worry about it. We're perfectly ready for it. We've already talked to the police. We've already talked to our lawyer, and we're within our bounds. That would be the only addition she could have made.
And that's sort of implied anyway. Like, it's not that bad that she's going to say it, because I feel like that's kind of there. So,
minor tweak. Yeah. Let's keep going.
There's another clinic across the street, and we're not forcing it on anything. We're not here to judge people. We're just here to help them if they want it. Okay. So that's all that we're doing. But yeah, I definitely don't want to create a problem for you or your job. So
I don't want to be addicted.
I think it would help if you told him that, because it's not like the police have showed up.
I'm not going to tell him shit. I'm going to wait. If they called me, they called me. If they
okay.
We're good.
That is a huge shift. Yeah. Suddenly he's gone from, I don't want to be in trouble, to now, all right, well, if they call me, they call me. I don't want to be a dictator. And look how quickly she's back with, I think you should tell him that. That was so great. I love Rebekah.
So yeah, but oh man.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I should, because I take pictures on my phone to like make reports and stuff. I don't even know if I should like take a picture, like show you guys, or not show you guys.
Well, if you need to for your job, I'm not going to tell you can't. We're in a public spot. So if you need to, that's fine. Yeah.
You're like, all right, here you go.
It's fine with me.
There you go.
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
All right, man. All right. You have
well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me.
Day, yeah?
I won't. We're going to be heading out in like 20 minutes or so. Oh, so we're almost done.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
So that ended pretty well.
Yep.
That ended really, really well. I don't think I've got anything else to say about it. Is there anything else you would say?
I would not have given a time frame on exactly when I
okay.
leaving.
Why?
And
that's interesting.
Because if I got into a conversation with an abortion-minded person, I'm going to stay as long as it takes.
Got it. Yeah.
And I'm going to go, hey, you must be hungry. Let's go get a bag of chips.
Right.
or a Coke or a sandwich or whatever. That's
a fair point. I didn't think of that. So I think that's a really good point. Like, it was definitely helpful to get this guy to kind of move on, but I see your point. I think that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah. And she could say something like, I'm planning on just being here another 20 minutes, but I might decide to talk to somebody and we'll buy something or something like that. We'll stay within the law. But she did great.
So 1 week later, what's that mean? 1 week later.
1 week later.
That whole thing. Like, the guy comes back.
Yeah.
And I would say this interaction, at least in parts, goes quite a bit worse. Things go downhill, which is kind of interesting. But let's just take a look at what happens.
Come at you because of the rights. I'm just saying, like, man, like, you're here for young children and shit, but you're not caring about me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, care doesn't be classified, bro. Like, if you care about little kids, you care about my job. My boss calls me and gives me a hard time for this shit. Those people give me a hard time for this shit. And I'm not here to give you a hard time. Like, I'm being nice and shit, and you guys are just fucking, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand how that would be frustrating, and I'm not trying to hurt your job at all, but I mean, you aren't responsible for us being out here. Like, the police have come out to talk to us, and they're not saying that we have to leave, and we are a customer of one of the businesses that are here, and while we're here,
but they come at me, I'm telling you, like other people don't give a fuck. Like, if I care about what you do, like, and if I respect it, many other people don't. And they come at me for doing that because they don't want to come talk to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to come talk to you guys. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's saying. Is he saying that his bosses are coming at him, or is he saying that the people going into Planned Parenthood are coming at him?
I think he's saying his boss,
who
like owns the property and rents the Planned Parenthood and Subway and all that stuff. I think he said earlier there's one owner. Okay. I don't know if it's true, but what I'm gathering is his boss calls them and says, my tenant, Planned Parenthood, who I guess has given up calling the cops on them, is now calling me and giving me a hard time and trying to get me to do something. So I'm telling you, my private security guy that I pay, to come and deal with it. And then when it doesn't get dealt with in the way Planned Parenthood wants, which is they're still there after the interaction is over, then the boss is giving him a hard time, like, hey, why aren't you doing your job? Probably a boss who doesn't understand the law, doesn't understand, like, why aren't you doing your job well?
Just kick him out.
Just kick him out. Yeah. Like, come on, like, show a bigger show of force or something, intimidate them, whatever you got to like that kind of thing. That's what I'm gathering.
Yeah.
He's mad at them for getting him in trouble and kind of saying, like, if you're pro-life, you should care about my job.
Right.
Which is like, okay, again, pro-life means we want abortion to be against the law. Like, generally speaking, that's what pro-life means. And I think it's like, it's just like, obviously I don't want people to get in trouble. And Steven says that, like, I don't want to get you in trouble, but these are not equal to us.
Yeah.
If we believe babies are getting killed in there, and we believe we can save some of those babies by just gently in a nice way, offering people resources some other way out, and we can save some babies, then that's just going to matter more than whether or not your boss gets mad at you.
Right.
And I guess it just feels like very kind of like emotionally manipulative.
It is. And this is so multifaceted because his boss can't get mad at it. I mean, yeah.
Well, he can. I mean, he's
can
like
get mad.
A bad person,
but
or whatever.
Yeah. It's not like he can go, well, if you don't go wrestle them off the property, you're fired.
Right. Like, he can't go and break the law and batter or whatever it would technically be if, like, you put hands on them. Like, he can't. There's only so much he can do.
Yeah, there's so much that's unclear here with, like, exactly what are they telling you to do? They're mad at you because I'm doing something I can legally do and you have no power to stop, because that's what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah.
And maybe to help bring this clarity to him, it's like, it sounds like your boss is asking you to do something illegal.
Right.
They want you to do something, and I'm like, you got to understand what they want you to do, you can't legally do. Are they? And they're going to fire you for not doing something illegal?
Right. I mean, he needs a different boss anyway. If his boss is treating him that badly, and I don't say it lightly, I know it can be hard to find another. I'm just saying, like, he's got a bad boss. It would be a good thing for him if he found a different boss, even if he stays in the same career. Like, if your boss treats you like that, that's be looking somewhere.
But maybe you're right. Maybe this is all he can find. Maybe he looked for a long, and this is it. And for whatever reason, he doesn't believe that he can get another job.
Right.
He needs to have some kind of, he needs Jen in his HR department to be like, hey, Josh is asking me to do something illegal, and he said he's
which
mad
has
at
never
me,
happened. This is a thought experiment right now. Pause. Yeah.
Just
to be clear,
I don't like this thought experiment.
Cameras on, Jacob. All right.
But no, you guys see where I'm coming from. Like, there's some kind of level of
do not ask your employees to do anything illegal.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and she can help. Hopefully, she can help point this out to the guy and say, yeah, but that's not the case. I'm really sad that you've got a boss that is just being a jerk.
Yeah,
and the police couldn't get us out of here. I doubt he's going to be able to, and you certainly won't be able to without doing anything illegal. Now, you've said that you are worried about getting fired and you getting in trouble for this. I'm actually very troubled by that.
Yeah.
I'd like to kind of reach out and see if maybe I can help you find another job if that's the case.
Yeah.
You know, is this where you want to be? Do you want to do something else? Or is this, you know, and maybe you can minister to this guy kind of trying to help him and be like, you don't want to, like you said, Josh, you don't want to be working here.
Right.
So anyway, let's keep going. There's so many things here that are wrong.
Yeah.
And I think this is one time that I'd push and say she could be a little bit more firm with the guy and be like,
especially because they've already talked about this before.
Yeah, we've already talked about this. I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get fired. I don't want you to get in trouble. And more than that, I don't want to see kids get killed. Or babies get killed. That I might be able to help stop just by offering people information.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay to offer information.
Right.
But also, if there's a way, I'll try to help you find a job, or I'll ask around a little bit and see if there's a better position you can go to. Because clearly, if you know what you're saying is what's happening, you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing, is to try to help the abortion workers find another job. I don't know if this falls under the And Then There Were None organization, but it might. Something that you could look into when these kinds of things, you know, if the security guard strictly works at the abortion clinic, I'm sure And Then There Were None can help find another job. But you can too.
Right. Yeah. So ask around.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's just gonna be out of appreciation, bro. Like, it's just because I didn't do anything bad to you, so I'm expecting you to care about my job. And just like, at least like.
Okay, so the video cuts here. There's a couple times where the video cuts because I think Rebekah was like messing with her phone or like accidentally turned it off. So I don't know exactly. I don't think there's much space in between these recordings, but I'll just note for the audio, like the video cuts here and it's going to start again in a second. But let's just stop here. He says, I didn't do anything bad to you, so I'm expecting you to care about my job. Like,
is that a threat?
That feels kind of threatening. I'm sorry. I mean,
like, what do you mean by bad?
Right. What kind of bad thing would you want to do to me? Like what? Like, you know?
Do you want to do something bad?
Yeah. That's weird. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's just weird. Okay.
Let me just say this.
Yeah.
I don't think this guy's a clear thinker. I think he's shooting from the hip, just trying to get this situation resolved.
Fair. But even if people don't think clearly, it is not okay to threaten people.
Absolutely.
And this is like, totally it's close to the line at least. I don't know exactly where the line is, but this feels.
You're right. That's a good observation.
Okay. So the video cuts, and then I think probably seconds later, this next video begins.
Like, well, I'm gonna be good. You're still gonna be delivering your message. Those people are not gonna fucking rat me out. Like, we all win. Like, I'm not telling you to leave. I'm just telling you to like stay right there. Like, you know, like it's in your sight. You can see if people coming from there, and they're gonna read your sign and everything.
Again, with this confusion, this mass confusion among everyone that does anything on this property, is they think that they just want to display their message. That is not all that they want to do. That is not going to be satisfactory to them. Yeah.
And I think she could have, like, here, and easy to say this here, but she could have said, my view is that offering people help saves lives. Yeah. So no, I'm not going to just stand here unless I have to. Yeah. I'm sorry about your job.
Yeah. Yeah. And she might say some of that. And I've paused it, right? But
let's see.
That's something that definitely would be good to say.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
last time you told me I'll be out of here in 20 minutes. So come on, like, are 20 minutes really worth it to hurt my job? And instead of staying right there and like.
That's manipulative.
That's manipulative.
Is 20 minutes really worth it to hurt my job? Like,
and I would have, as soon as he said that, I would have said yes, because I think there's a good chance that we can get a kid out. We can we'll see a baby come out in this 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I would take that gamble. I'll also help you look for another job.
This is not going to work. Right. This whole thing of you're hurting my job, I'm sorry, it's not going to work on me. I don't want things to go badly for you. And if there are things that I can do to help that aren't allowing children to die, like that's one thing. But I'm not going to stop trying to offer life-saving resources to people just because you're saying this is going to hurt your job. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry.
We're not going to be so nice that we let kids die because you need to keep or want to keep your job or need to keep your job.
Yeah.
No.
you know?
Well, I am not hurting your job by being out here. Like
That's great.
you can't
Great
control that we're
clarification.
here. So if it's really a problem,
to
and
God,
if
I'm
we
not
are
lying to you. I
breaking the
swear.
law,
Because you know why? Like another reason, like this is my first round of the day, and it should take like 10 minutes, only 10 minutes. So yeah, I'm not like, it's not like one of my.
So here he says, I am not buying your nice way. So he's making an accusation. You're being deceptive. You're acting all nice. You're not actually nice people. And his evidence is my job whenever I go and deal with something like this should only take 10 minutes. And this is taking longer than 10 minutes. Okay, maybe this is taking longer than 10 minutes because you don't have any legal authority to make me move. This is a free speech issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, okay.
This is starting to frustrate me. Okay? just saying.
My hobby is to be out here and like talk to people, try to come out. You feel me? Like I'm trying to get here like quick, bro. Like I'm just trying to get it. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm just trying to make you understand. Like I'm not here to be a dick to you. Like I don't
Sure.
give a fuck. I swear I don't care. Like I just want people calling me, be like, "Why aren't you doing your job?" That's it. So how long are you guys gonna be here for? Because I have to take a picture of the place.
we'll be here till about 10:30. Like we're hanging out for like an hour and a half. Let me call my
When did you
attorney.
pull up?
What?
When did you pull up? When did you come?
We just got here. I got some food over at that place, and I'm gonna.
I would not have answered that
Some of-
question. Not the way he asked it. I would have been like, I'm just not feeling comfortable answering these questions at this point.
Yeah.
He's pulled enough that I think at some point, like, you need to be careful with giving answers.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be respectful. But when he said, when did you get here? I would not have answered. I just said, I'm just not comfortable with the tone where this is headed.
Feel free to
I'm
call the
not going
cops if you want. Like I'm willing to talk to the cops about that, but I'm not willing to answer that too because there is a relevance where it sounds like potentially like in the law. Like again, this is kind of like murky, but it's like there's at some point it's kind of subjective. At some point, they can't stay there, but it's probably beyond an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And they typically only stay there an hour and a half, but like they probably can't be there for 4 hours. Right. And so there's some relevance to how long are you going to stay? There's like, maybe they're either legally in their right or they're not. But again, I don't know that they have to tell him.
No,
they could tell the people who actually have legal authority over.
You don't have to incriminate yourself. You don't have to tell the police either. You don't want to be belligerent and rude.
Yeah.
But they can say, I got the call at such and such time. You say, okay, so you're going to count that's when we started? It's like he might say, well, when did you start? Well, you got the call at this time. You don't have to answer the questions. And with this guy, I would respectfully, and I know the conversation ends very shortly here, but I would respectfully have said, look, I don't think we're getting anywhere with this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're just
that is okay to say.
Talking in circles.
Yeah.
And we're probably at the point where we're kind of wasting both each other's time.
Right.
So I'm not comfortable answering any more of your questions.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose to kind of distance myself from this conversation and go about the reason I'm here.
Right.
Eating my Subway sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Of it while I'm here, and while we're here, we're just gonna, if someone wants to talk, we're gonna be here to be able to share with them about other options.
So you're gonna be here until 10:30?
To around that, yeah.
Good answer.
And you don't want to stay over there at least?
Not right now.
Good
No.
answer.
Oh,
Good
so
job.
after 10:30 you're gonna go there?
No, after 10:30, I usually head out.
Oh, you're just gonna leave?
Mm-hmm.
All right, do me a favor and just stand right here for a second. Let me take a picture of the place empty. I'm not gonna make you leave. Just take your signs. Be right here for a second. I'm gonna take a picture of the place.
So just in case it's not clear, what he's going to do now is lie to his boss.
Right. They're not
He's
here.
like, because we'd already talked about how he's got to take pictures and when he makes these reports, he's like, I'm not going to make you leave. Let's just move your signs for a second. I'm going to take a picture of the place and make a report that says that the place is empty now, and then you can go back.
Right. Right.
Like, so let's watch how Rebekah responds. This is an area where I'm interested in what you think. If you would have done the same thing, it's at least questionable, but
Yeah.
I don't think like Rebekah like totally screws up here. But I'm not sure.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's see what she does. She kind of goes with it.
Can you just pick up my...
Yeah.
So they move the stuff. The video's going to cut out in a second.
Just put it down right there.
Okay. So in the video cuts, and clearly there's some space in between that one and this one, because then he comes back, I think, after a conversation with his boss. So, okay, so he wants to falsify this report or something to his boss. It's not like a legal report, but it's still like, do you think, just tell me what you would have done.
They were already over there. I probably would have been like, you want to take a picture before I walk over there? Fine, take your picture. That's I don't know.
They had to move their stuff to like do it. Like they were in point A. They kind of moved their stuff temporarily to point B.
Is that what was happening? Okay.
Yeah. So then he can take a picture of point A empty, and then they moved back.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Because like you want to be nice to the guy. You're helping him, but at the same time, you're like, it feels like it's kind of helping him deceive his boss.
Yeah. So I honestly, I don't know what I would do just there. If it's like, you know what, just forget it. If this gets the guy off my back, I can get back to saving babies. Then fine. I'm going to take 2 steps over here. You take your picture.
Right.
And then I'm going back to my thing and you'll be gone.
Right.
And I can do some of this work.
Yeah.
Or if it's like, no, I'm not going to help you lie to your boss. I'm not jumping through these hoops. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm going to stand right here.
Like your boss, no, I'm here. Like, I'm sorry.
Tell your boss.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. Like, I think they were surprised. That is such a, I would not have expected that to be the like, okay, fine. Let's just lie to my boss. Like, I think they were like taking and I'm one of those guys that like, I am so much better after the moment. Like I'm the guy that thinks of the great response sometimes an hour later as I'm walking away. So like no shade on Rebekah, but I don't know what's the best move there. But it's at least questionable to me. At least.
And you're asking me, I'm thinking about that for the first time
I still don't know.
here. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, you need to, I'm glad we're watching this because now I'm going to have to think about if that happens, what am I going to do and be ready for it. And I hope our listeners can do the same.
Yeah. Well, if you end up deciding, let us know.
Okay.
Okay.
They're going to be mean pretty soon. They're like, just so you know, like they're getting like this paper and shit.
Okay, so just to be clear, and Rebekah explained the context to me about this one. When he says they're going to be mean pretty soon, he's referencing Planned Parenthood.
Oh, and that's fine.
And
of course they are.
They're not happy.
That's wonderful news because that means you're affecting their bottom dollar.
Yeah.
That's why they're mad.
Yes, which we're okay with.
I'm perfectly fine.
We're totally fine messing with their bottom dollar.
Yeah.
So he talks about them getting this paper. He's not clear at all about this, but the context is they've got some kind of a form that they're passing around to the other tenants, trying to get them like, can we all agree that these people shouldn't be able to be here, that they're hoping to use as leverage to get the cops to do more or something like that. So that's what it's not clear by the way he talks about it, but that's what's going on. So.
They're trying to call more people and shit. So.
Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you letting me know.
I was doing this right now, sitting here, not to like still again, not to be a dick to you guys, but just to make sure I'm like, I don't have any responsibilities on my shoulder. You
gotta do right, and I want you to know, like, I appreciate you. I don't want to get your job in trouble.
Like, y'all seem like nice people.
Yeah, like, so yeah. I hope that have a good day.
I got it off.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye.
So that one ends kind of awkwardly. This is kind of like they don't have anything else to say to the guy. Like, yeah, thanks. I'm glad that you think that we're nice. Like, okay, like, but like, they're not just going to change suddenly because the guy's now saying, I'm more confident that I'm going to get in trouble now. It's like, he's tried this before. It's not.
Yeah. Well, and now Planned Parenthood's trying another tactic. They're getting people to sign something. Right. And I just say, take a deep breath. Rebekah needs to tell her lawyer, hey, they're doing this. Yeah. Is there any preemptive thing I need to do? Right. But I just say, take a deep breath. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You keep being faithful. And, I don't know how much sway, like what has to happen? Like every single tenant has to sign that they don't want you there.
It might end up being a legal question. Like I don't know.
Okay. It goes to court and they're like, we don't want this person there. And, Rebekah's got red hair. That'd be the first thing I'd ask. Is it because she has red hair? Is it all red hair people you don't want there? Like, why can't she be there? Oh, it's because she's doing this free speech
Is
thing.
It because of the content of her speech? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So it's not.
Are you discriminating against pro-life speech versus
See,
first?
a lawyer could just have so much.
Yeah.
There's so many ways they can go with this.
Yeah.
You're kicking this person off because they want to have free speech. I think Rebekah's lawyer has already hinted towards that isn't possible, but
Right.
I don't know. That's
Right.
what I've gathered from this. So I'm just saying, just because they're all signing something and they think it might just be an intern there trying to make a difference in like, well, maybe if we get a petition like at school when we didn't want whatever.
Right. Who knows?
We'll get rid of it.
So that's all the videos. That is everything in this saga so far. Any final thoughts?
All and I think Rebekah did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Really happy for
She's
how
quick
she
on
did
her
that.
feet.
She's very quick.
She asks great clarification questions.
Mhm.
She's super sweet about it.
Mhm.
Like she gets all these people on her side by the end of it just because she's being so nice. Like they're all
Yes.
like, I don't want to bug you. I don't want to, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's
That's a great point. That was a common thing that happened with each one of these situations.
Every single one, the tone changes
Mhm.
by the end of it. And I think that has a lot to do with like they're expecting a certain, like each one of those men expected a certain thing when they walked up and they got it something different by the end of it. Even him coming back on the second week, he's back at like kind of like anger and frustrated with them or whatever. And by the end of day 2, he's like still like, yeah, all right, well, you guys are really nice. Like, so being nice can be really helpful in getting people to lower their defenses and you to get what they want. Again, you don't want to be too nice. We don't teach people to be too nice and just be like, hey, whatever you want, man. Like, in fact, we've read an article I'll link to. We actually wrote an article because there were some people that were like, you're trying to teach pro-life people to be too nice. And so we literally wrote an article called Don't Be Too Nice. And so there are points where you need to set boundaries and, end conversations because they're unproductive or other people are being jerks or whatever. Like for sure, have boundaries, do self-care and all of this. So anyway, yeah. But at the same time, while you shouldn't be too nice, you also shouldn't be unnecessarily obnoxious.
Sure.
Or whatever, even when the law is on your side, because it's just going to get people to be angry. It's going to waste more of their time from sidewalk counseling. I just felt like, we said it a lot. We've handled it really, really well.
There were a couple of things in there that make my advice towards this situation pretty different. For instance, both the police officers said, I'm not putting anybody in handcuffs here today.
Right.
And then if they whipped out the handcuffs, put you in handcuffs, it puts you in a really good position. But because they both said that, I wouldn't advocate that they press anything. Let's work under a premise for a second that they didn't say that.
Okay.
And that they were like, okay, you need to leave. And maybe they said, I'm leaving, I'm coming back in 20 minutes or 5 minutes or
whatever. I'm going to see if you're still here. You say you're going to be gone in 20 minutes. I'll be back in 20 minutes to see.
Yeah, let me see and see. If the police officer says something like that to you, where you're anything of that you don't have clarity, what is that? Then ask them. What does that mean, officer? You need to really press.
Right.
And I'm really trying to emphasize this point of press the police to answer what's the law?
Yep.
What's going to happen if I don't obey?
Right.
What exactly do I have to do?
Right.
What exactly do I have to do? And what happens if I don't do it?
Because your lawyer will want to know their answers to those questions.
Absolutely. Because what happens so often with police is they come up and you notice the first 2 police officers, as soon as the conversation started, what a lot of pro-life people do is go, okay, he said this, this, and this, so we have to leave, and they leave.
Right.
And that's what they're expecting most people to do.
Right.
And boom, 5 minutes, call's done. They can move on to the next thing. They don't have to worry about it.
Right.
So you have to nicely, respectfully press them.
Yeah.
And say, I want to obey the law. My intent is to obey the law, officer.
Yeah.
I need to understand what you're saying because it's not clear. All that is perfectly within your legal rights.
Yep.
And your lawyer is going to love you for saying it if anything happens.
Right.
Because of the work Rebekah's done, because she's recorded these conversations, because how she's conducted herself, if she gets arrested, I would love to see what her lawyer does in court.
Yeah.
I would love to see this judge. Now, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe I'm completely wrong and there's something I'm missing. If you're a lawyer out there, you can call me out on it. Please do. But I just have the hardest time seeing her going up before a judge and a district attorney saying, we're charging her with these things. And her lawyer going, here's the tapes of the interactions. And the judge is going to say, wait a minute. 2 officers said they're not going to arrest her. She was very helpful to the police, the security guard. Then this third officer just comes up and arrests her after she's been so helpful and she was helpful here. Why are we here? Why are we arresting this young lady? We have no grounds to hold her. She's trying to obey the law. It is in her right to do a free speech activity. She's researching. She's doing everything she can,
Right.
but she's holding true to her principles.
So like the only part of that I don't know if I agree with or not. And again, this is hard because like it would have been great to have like a lawyer here with
Right,
us, like
sure.
just because
Yeah.
we're doing our best, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the judge would care so much what exactly the police officers said, because like it seems like what's more like, okay, what is the law? Like, is she on the right side of the law or not? The fact that the cops said we're not going to arrest you these 2 times, I don't know how relevant that would end up being to like the decision that she has to make. Like, she's got to uphold the law regardless of what the cops do, right?
So the only way, let me add a little bit
Okay.
to that for clarification. Thanks for saying that, Josh. The only way I see that she would be arrested right now, that I'm just trying to predict, like,
Right.
how could this go wrong? What could happen
Right.
here is that a police officer gets called, looks at the log and goes, we've been in contact with this person 3 times over the past month. I'm not putting up with it anymore. I'm just going to arrest her and take her to jail.
Right.
Okay, so he gets there and he's like, you're trespassing. I'm arresting you for trespassing.
Gone.
I'm taking you to jail. And
Hands
she's
behind
like,
your
"What-
back."
what?
Right.
Okay, now she goes to court.
Right.
And her lawyer goes, she had a really nice conversation with the police officers where they said, you're actually within your bounds of the law. And we didn't arrest you and we're not going to arrest you. Then Barney Fife comes up here and he just slaps the cuffs on you and hauls you off when you're actually not doing anything illegal.
It might be evidence that it had gone well the first 2 times, but I don't know. It might just simply be, okay, but what is the law?
Right. And what I'm saying is the way I could see her getting arrested is by a police officer getting frustrated with,
Right.
oh, there's been multiple calls. The way I
Right.
handle that is
Right.
I just arrest them and take them in.
Right.
Not that cops all do that. I'm not
Sure,
saying anything
obviously.
like that. But I think if they're seen where they're going to a location for
Yeah.
the same reason on multiple times, they're going to start trying other tactics.
Yeah.
And maybe he goes, the tactic I'm trying today is I'm just going to arrest him.
Okay. Well, I hope that this has been helpful. If you're a sidewalk counselor, that wants to see us do more commentary like this, let us know if this is the kind of thing that you're interested in us doing more of, because if you're a sidewalk counselor that has recorded interactions like this, maybe they're not with the police, maybe they're interactions with, a private security guard or people just on the sidewalk. If you want to see us do commentary on that, we're at least open to it. If you send us the recordings, but I would also say, if you were doing sidewalk counseling and you've got a private security guard or a police officer or someone telling you to do something that might not be legal and you don't know, but you're like, well, I don't have the money for a lawyer. Remember, there are organizations like Alliance Defending Freedom that would probably love to take that case. So at least call them, call ADF and kind of explain what the situation is. This is the kind of case that I think they really, really want to, they really want to help protect free speech for pro-life people to be able to do the important work that they do. And I mean, if you are outside the bounds of the law, I'm sure they will tell you and change that behavior. But a lot of times pro-lifers are getting pushed around to, beyond what the scope of the law is. And a lot of times you need maybe just an ADF attorney to send a letter with their letterhead on it to whoever, the watch commander or whatever. And it's like, here's the law. Here's what your guy said. This is not okay. Back off or we're going to sue you. Like something like that. Just know that organization is awesome. We've always had one of their attorneys on our advisory board since we had an advisory board. So we've got a really good relationship with them. And I just know that they've helped so many pro-life people. So just know that.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, even if you're not a course subscriber to ours and you're just hearing this podcast for the first thing and you're trying to gather resources, Alliance Defending Freedom has a free brochure or like pamphlet that they will send you. I don't remember if they send it via PDF or you get mail in, but anyway, you can contact them and find it specifically for sidewalk counseling. So they're going to walk you through what your rights are, what you can and can't do, and get into a lot of detail that I don't remember here right now. And if you're doing sidewalk counseling, I beg you, there's no reason not to contact them, get that, and keep it with you. Read it, go through it, so you're familiar. Because when this kind of thing does happen, when the police come, you're going to be so thankful. You know what your rights are. You know the questions to ask. You know what your lawyer's going to need. And maybe they even say things you shouldn't say in there. So
there's one other way that they can access that document, which is by getting the Sidewalk Counseling Masterclass, where we link directly to it.
That's right.
If you want to learn how to sidewalk counsel really well, like just a quick pitch, like Jacob has done this for a long time. I think he's one of the best sidewalk counselors in the country, which is why we created an entire dang course, because we had a lot of our people asking us, okay, your first course, the Equip for Life course, helps us dialogue with pro-choice people like online or on college campuses or, our friends having coffee or whatever. But sidewalk counseling is different. And we knew that. We never tried to make the Equip for Life course about sidewalk counseling. And so then once we kind of realized that Jacob had come up with some novel techniques for doing it that were kind of tried and tested and true, we were like, okay, let's help our people with this second course. And so it's really, really great. It's like 7 or 8 hours long. We go through all kinds of things, like very, very practical, how to like research the clinics, how to find them, what like conversation starters is sometimes the hardest thing because you've got moments. So you go through like several really great examples of ways, like the first thing that you say. And then once you get them into a conversation, we've got like a couple of hours on what do you actually say in that conversation and how do you kind of, take your time, listen to them, hear their story, love on them, and then get them to the pregnancy center. But you've also got like, how do you deal with, I'll tell you the one that has been like the one that we get the most questions about is how to do with what we call the alternative sidewalk counselors that are out there, like the people that are either protesting or maybe have big graphic signs or just doing it a different way than you. We've got some ideas for how to handle those kind of sensitive situations, as well as, of course, how to talk to the police is a whole lesson on there. And I think one of my favorite things, I'll just say, is the final lesson, which is on dealing with discouragement. Because sometimes you're going to sidewalk counsel and you're going to have a day where no babies get saved, but you watch these moms walk in with a baby and walk out without a baby. And that's really hard. And so we have a whole thing just talking about how to emotionally kind of deal with that in a healthy way. And so you should go to sidewalkcounselingmasterclass.com. It is really, really good. We've got all kinds of testimonials from people saying that it's been really, really helpful to them. And now they're out all over the country saving lives, which is super cool. Yeah.
I know you went over that quick. I want to touch on that last one because I don't think I've ever really talked about it before. But
it's one of the best parts of the course.
It's more than just not having any successes. One of the hardest things is like you're going to have days where you talk to someone and they still chose to have an abortion. And you wonder in your head, maybe I said the wrong things. Maybe I should have said this thing different. Or I know I did this wrong. And we, in that module, try to help you understand how you need to be processing that information. Because there's a good way to do it and there's a bad way to do it. And I'll just tell you, the bad way is costing us a lot of sidewalk counselors. There's a lot of people out there who are getting very discouraged.
They're getting burned out.
And they're burning out. And losing sidewalk counselors, the biggest thing is not Planned Parenthood and the abortion clinic and the people who drive by and honk that are the big negative effect on them. It's burnout for other things. And we talk about how to avoid burnout in the course because it's easy to jump in this and be fired up and you're seeing saves and it's so cool. And then some time goes down and you start feeling the wear on it. It's a heavy experience to go to that clinic on a regular basis. You got to be ready for it.
It costs like $49. Like courses, like online courses like this are usually at like $400 or $500. And that's without the fact that in this case, the guy who created the course is going to reach out to you personally and offer you
as much as I can, as long as I can. I hope we get so many sales I can't reach out to everyone, but that's
right
the goal.
Now, that's the thing that's been going on.
That is
like, just get the course and go save some babies.
Yeah. Look forward to talking to you guys and meeting with you, and really look forward to learning from you too. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Equipped for Life podcast, a project of Equal Rights Institute. Equal Rights Institute uses speaking, writing, YouTube videos, podcasts, online courses, and campus outreach to help pro-life advocates in the areas of practical dialogue tips, relational apologetics, pro-life philosophy, and sidewalk counseling. If you've been helped by this podcast, please consider supporting it by making a donation at equalrightsinstitute.com.